The next season of Arrow, which is season 8, is going to be its last with only 10 episodes. I definitely still have some hope for these episodes in the season in general, which is what I'm going to be going over in this video. This list is not in any specific order and will only include realistic hopes, so nothing too crazy, nothing that I think is completely impossible. So with that in mind, let's start the video. So just to start the video off with something kind of light, I think that in Season 8, Oliver should return to wearing his mask and his hood. He stopped wearing his mask and his hood after the Season 6 finale because his identity was revealed to the public. He went to prison, and once he left, there was no real reason to wear them anymore because all they did really was keep his identity a secret, and that was no longer a secret. That being said, after Oliver left prison, the lack of the mask and the hood on the Green Arrow became incredibly distracting, like there was something kind of off with him. He didn't look as cool or as menacing, and I don't think he looked at nearly as much as the Green Arrow as he should have, or not nearly as much as compared to basically every other season of the show, or even compared to how the Green Arrow looked in Elseworlds Part 1 and 2 when Grant Gustin was playing him. I'm not going to say that Grant Gustin is a better Green Arrow. I don't think he would have been a better Green Arrow at all, but I think that the mask and the hood go such a long way that Grant Gustin in that costume with the mask and hood kind of looks better and more like the Green Arrow than Stephen Amell does without them. So I really think that in Season 8, he should return to wearing the mask and hood to complete the costume again, especially in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Speaking of the upcoming Crisis, it seems like Season 8 of Arrow will heavily deal with leading up to that crossover with Oliver and the Monitor doing some sort of thing together in the season. First of all, to just go off of that, I think that LaMonica Garrett, the actor who plays Marnovu, aka the Monitor, should be up to series regular for this season. If he and Oliver will have their own storyline, then I see no reason why he can't appear in every episode and be a series regular. He's one of my favorite characters, despite the fact that he only appeared in like 7 episodes. I'm pretty sure basically every single one of those appearances was just a cameo, but I really think that if he gets a bigger role in Season 8, that could go such a long way for this storyline and the lead up to Crisis on Infinite Earths. Speaking of that storyline, I think that it can have some sort of nice structure to it, where it's just Oliver and a couple other people, usually not from the main cast, other than the Monitor, if he does become a series regular in a contained storyline in a limited amount of episodes, which kind of sounds pretty similar to the prison storyline in its actual structure. The prison storyline was awesome, so I think that they can definitely pull off this maybe like 8 episode storyline with Oliver and the Monitor doing some sort of thing leading up to Crisis on Infinite Earths. It can be a good, complete, contained storyline following Oliver and Queen, and even though it's only a limited amount of episodes, it could definitely be a very good storyline like the prison storyline in Season 7. The leading theory for what that storyline is will be Oliver and Novu going around the multiverse recruiting heroes for the fight against the Anti-Monitor in Crisis on Infinite Earths. If that is indeed what it is, then these episodes would be the perfect time to bring in past visited universes like Earth 2, 3, 1990, and X, not 38 because that's already basically incorporated into the Arrowverse, so that maybe the crossover can spend a lot more time on its actual story and less time on bringing in these heroes from other universes. That could also go to not yet visited universes by the Arrowverse, some of which should definitely be other DC TV shows. Shows like Smallville and Black Lightning are obvious because they are or were on the CW, so it shouldn't be too hard for them to bring them in, especially Black Lightning, which is actually currently airing. But way more so than Smallville and Black Lightning, because I'm not really that much of a big fan of Smallville or Black Lightning, but what I am a big fan of is the current DC Universe TV shows, and I really want those shows to be incorporated into the Arrowverse. Shows like Titans, Doom Patrol, or even Swamp Thing should, I think, definitely appear in this crossover. I admit it's not very likely, as for one, it's not on the CW. Secondly, the DC Universe shows feel very different to the CW shows. In fact, I think they're kind of a lot better in the production quality and even the writing, and also something's going on with the DC Universe. It's a very up and down situation there, so it's probably going to be incredibly difficult to incorporate them into the Arrowverse crossover. Still though, although I think it's very unlikely, I think it is definitely still at least a little bit possible, and I really want to see like Batman and Robin from Titans, Cyborg and the rest of the Doom Patrol, as well as Swamp Thing to interact with the entirety of the Arrowverse, and while it's not likely, again, I think it is definitely possible for that to happen, and in Season 8, I think it would be a great time to do that so that the actual crossover can focus more on its storyline and not having the burden of trying to incorporate these huge different TV shows and universes into the Arrowverse, although still, I think the crossover with its 5 episodes, it probably can still pull it off. Still though, I think Arrow Season 8 would be a great time to do this. Arrow Season 8 is the final season of Arrow, and I think that there are certain characters who really need to return before the show ends, like at least one more time. Characters that if they didn't appear in the end of the show, it would feel kind of like an incomplete final season, and just it wouldn't really fit the show very well. The two characters I'm talking about are Slade Wilson and Thea Queen. In particular, if these two characters don't appear, that would be so weird. They still exist out there. They still kind of are a little bit connected to Oliver's storyline. They're definitely very close to Oliver, so it would feel very weird for them not to appear in the final season. But also characters like Curtis, Ragman, Nyssa and Talia al Ghul, the Huntress, and maybe like alternative versions or hallucinations or even dream versions of the deceased characters like Adrian Chase, Malcolm Merlin, Tommy Merlin, Moira Queen, and Quentin Lance. I think that they should all appear in some way or another in the final season. They don't all have to have their own storylines or even individual sequences, because that would be impossible, and definitely it would feel very weird for every other episode to focus on a dead character or a returning character. But I think that maybe one or two scenes should focus on all of these characters returning, and in some way or another they should all be coming back. I'm kind of crossing my fingers that Warner Brothers even allows the CW to use Deathstroke for like at least one or two more episodes, because I really want him to come back, but I'm not really sure if he will. So a huge problem that dragged down Season 8 tremendously were the flash forwards, which were poorly written, very poorly acted, mostly featured boring characters except for like Dinah and Roy, which didn't really appear very often, felt pointless, took the tension out of any scene that featured Renee, Dinah, Roy, and after she was revealed to be alive, Felicity as well, and most importantly and most significantly made Oliver's crusade feel kind of pointless, as it felt like it had no positive effect on the city at all, and in the future the city's even more worse off. Anyway, obviously you can tell I hate the flash forwards, but they are inevitable in the final season. The actor who played Connor Hawke in season 7 was up to series regular, which means that Mia, William, and Zoe's actors will probably also be series regulars as well, and so the final season will continue the flash forwards. Now, if I had it my way, I would definitely just get rid of the flash forwards completely and make them not canon, just basically throw them in the trash. But obviously, this video is not going over these unrealistic hopes, so I think at least they should minimize the screen time of the flash forwards, the screen time that they take up, which I think in Season 7 was way too much, or at the very least, give some sort of reason for why they exist. I mean, compare the flash forwards to something very similar, but kind of the polar opposite, the flashbacks, which exist to tell Oliver's origin story, to give some great character development to a lot of characters in the present day, and even enhance scenes to connect to the flashbacks in the present, like in Season 2 and 5 finales, and especially in Season 2, it created the rivalry, it developed the rivalry and backstory between Oliver and Slade so perfectly well. The flash forwards, on the other hand, serve no purpose whatsoever, and it's kind of the opposite, where it detracts from the present day quite a lot, like I mentioned earlier, with the tension of the characters who we know are alive in the future. So what is the actual purpose of the flash forwards? Why do they exist? I honestly don't understand at all. I have no idea. So at the very least, they have to give some sort of reason for why the flash forwards exist in Arrow Season 8. Now, I doubt any reason will be all too satisfying, as it won't change the fact that the flash forwards are really bad, but I think that at the very least of what they should do, they should just reveal the existence, the reason behind the existence of the flash forwards. Obviously, to take it a step further, they should minimize the flash forwards' screen time, and to take it even a step further than that, just get rid of them completely, but obviously that's not going to happen. And finishing this video off, something I really want to see in Season 8 is some sort of conclusion to what started in the Elseworlds crossover and was continued upon in episode 19 of Season 7, which is basically the confirmation of the fan theory that John Diggle is actually Jon Stewart and will sometime in the future become a Green Lantern. In Elseworlds, it was hinted at that Diggle's Earth 90 doppelganger was a Green Lantern, as he knew the Flash of Earth 90 and he had a ring. In episode 19, they introduced Roy Stewart, John's stepfather, who has the same name as Jon Stewart's grandfather in the comics, and by the end of the episode, John saw him as more of a father than his actual father, so it makes sense, and it would be realistic for him to maybe change his name to Stewart, making him the comic book character Jon Stewart. On top of all that, the similarities between Diggle and Stewart are definitely very much there, which is why the theory even existed in the first place, so I definitely think there needs to be some sort of conclusion to this, and I'm hoping to see that in Season 8. Maybe Diggle changes his name to Stewart, although that isn't really 100% necessary, but what really needs to happen is for John to get a Green Lantern ring and become a Green Lantern. I don't know if Warner Brothers will allow it. I don't know if Arrow can afford it, but Warner Brothers did allow the hints, and they could definitely simplify his powers. Though those powers definitely look very expensive, they can definitely simplify it so that he doesn't need to use his powers all the time, which, while it might be a little bit annoying at times, it's definitely going to be understandable if they do that. Either way, I think that the hints and build-up in Season 7 were definitely not for nothing. There's no way they did all of that for nothing. I remember an article saying that Beth Schwartz, the showrunner behind the show, said that John Diggle as a Green Lantern, it is to be continued about the Elseworlds crossover hint. I don't know if that is talking about episode 19, or maybe it's talking about John Diggle actually becoming a Green Lantern, but all I know is I think this build-up needs a conclusion, and now the best for that would be in Season 8. I think there should be an entire episode dedicated, or maybe one of the storylines of that episode, the main storyline dedicated to John Diggle becoming a Green Lantern. Maybe the episode title would be called In Brightest Day or something like that. Either way, I think that they should give Diggle a ring and have him become the Green Lantern of Sector 2814, I'm pretty sure it is, in Earth 1, and maybe even change his name to Stewart, but again, that isn't 100% necessary. So those are my realistic hopes for Arrow Season 8. Obviously, if I went off the rails, not talking about actual realistic hopes, I would say that they should bring Felicity back for one episode, kill her off, tell us that Oliver and Dinah are going to get together, or Oliver and Laurel, either way, I don't care, and tell us that we're going to get 5 more seasons, or maybe even more. Also get rid of the flash forwards, Oliver doesn't die, and the flash forwards also become not canon. That would be my unrealistic hopes for Arrow Season 8, but again, that is not possible. So what I think should happen in this video is, I think, the most likely of what I want to see in Arrow Season 8. Let me know what you want to see in the season, and let me know about my hopes, what you think about them in the comments down below. And if you want to see a similar video for The Flash Season 6, let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what you want to see in The Flash Season 6 as well, because I honestly can't really think of much, so I would definitely like your suggestions. So if you like this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.